When I want to override methods, I have to create the methods with the same signature. They have the same access modifier, return type, and the same method name. They can vary on the return type, the number, and the kinds of parameters. In this example, we will create methods that return strings with different levels of formality based on what information is passed into the method. Let's create our first method named sayThanks. The first method is our least formal response. It will take a single string. When I receive the first name, I'm going to have it append the first name to the informal greeting of thanks. Now I want to create another method with the same name for a semi-formal greeting, and this time it's going to accept two string parameters, one with the first name and one as last name. I'll keep my same access modifier, of course the keyword static, and again have a string return type. This method name is going to be exactly the same, and I will add an additional parameter inside of my parameter list. Finally, I'm going to write the same method to accept three strings as parameters, a title, a first name, and a last name. And I'll have this return the most formal message. When you're writing overloaded methods, you have to keep in mind that the order and the type of the method parameters matter. For example, I could not create another method that was called sayThanks that took in two strings, even if it was title and the last name. We will receive a compiler error if we try because it has the same parameter signature. They both take two strings as parameters. Now I could, however, have a method that had a string and an int, and I could write another method that had an int and a string. We could reverse those two parameters and they would be different methods. Let's practice running these. They are pretty easy to use. I'm just going to call the method and pass in the correct number and type of parameters. Here is my first run where it uses the method that takes one string. Here is my second run. This method takes in two strings, so it will go and find the method that takes in two strings and run that method body. Finally, let's implement the third one that takes three string parameters. If I try to run this method with a different type of parameter, let's say I try to pass in two integers, I'll get an error from Eclipse stating that sayThanks takes string, but it's not applicable for the arguments int. You can tell very quickly if you've written one wrong or you're trying to use the wrong types of parameters. If I change those parameters to be strings, I'll have no problem running this method. This concludes our example of writing and using overloaded methods.